Okay, quick question. When I say made in Bangladesh, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably the tag on a t-shirt or a pair of jeans. But today, we're going to peel back that label and uncover a really diverse, booming export economy that goes so much further.
First, let's just wrap our heads around the scale we're talking about. In the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year, Bangladesh's exports soared to a record-breaking $55.56 billion. So we're not just talking about a regional player here. No, this is a global manufacturing force to be reckoned with. Now this is where the story gets really interesting. Yeah, of course, ready-made garments are the undisputed king, making up a huge 85% of the total. But, and this is the important part, that leaves this fascinating 15% slice of the pie. That's a slice worth over $8 billion that most people completely overlook. And that's where the real hidden opportunities are hiding.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that export boom, then dive into the garment powerhouse. After that, we'll explore what's beyond the textiles, uncover some seriously surprising growth sectors, and wrap it all up with a practical guide to sourcing from this incredible market.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the garment powerhouse. This is the nearly $47 billion engine that pretty much everybody knows, so it's the perfect place for us to start.
So inside this massive industry, it really boils down to two main categories. On one side, you've got knitwear, all your comfy stuff like t-shirts and sweaters, which pulled in over $25 billion just in 2023. And on the other side, you have woven garments like shirts and denim, which accounted for more than $21 billion. Together, they're the absolute backbone of that Made in Bangladesh brand you see everywhere. Okay, so if you're thinking about sourcing from here, the logistics are obviously super important. Most of the production is clustered around big hubs like Dhaka and Ghazipur, and pretty much everything ships out of the key port of Chittagong. Now, if you're a buyer, FOB contracts are pretty standard. that just means the seller handles everything until the goods are on the ship, and you'll definitely want to look for key compliance certifications like OEKO-TEX for textile safety and ISO 9001 for quality.
But here's the thing, while garments are the big story today, the country's export history goes way deeper. And that brings us right to Section 2, beyond textiles. Let's dig into some of the traditional pillars of this economy. Let me introduce you to the golden fiber. This is jute, and it's Bangladesh's second biggest export. It's a traditional industry that's been around for ages, making everything from burlap bags to carpets. And with major buyers all across Asia and Europe, it's a sustainable, historic cornerstone of the economy. And look at this, the diversity doesn't stop with jute. You've got a serious leather and footwear industry serving high-fashion markets in places like Italy and Spain. Then there's a huge frozen seafood sector, shipping shrimp and fish to the US and Europe. And on top of that, a growing agricultural trade in everything from potatoes to tropical fruits.
Now for Section 3, and this is where the story gets really unexpected. We're talking about the surprising growth sectors that are quietly changing the whole game for the country's exports. So, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. What do you think is one of Bangladesh's fastest growing and most significant exports to the European Union? I'll give you a hint. It's probably not what you're thinking. Not clothes, not fish, not jute.
The answer? Bicycles. Yep, you heard that right. Bicycles, a sophisticated manufactured product that you might not immediately connect with the country.
And we're not talking about some small niche market either. Get this, Bangladesh is now the third largest supplier of bicycles to the entire EU. That's huge. It really says a lot about how their manufacturing capabilities are evolving, right?
And the story of diversification just keeps going. The pharmaceutical industry, it now exports to about 160 countries. The plastic sector, especially toys, is on a massive growth curve. And maybe the most surprising of all, they're exporting high-tech stuff like televisions from Bangladesh to, wait for it, South Korea. Think about that for a second.
So you might be wondering, where is all this amazing insight coming from? Well, the information for this explainer is drawn from the work of M. Joynal Abdeen, an expert who specializes in connecting international businesses with these very opportunities.
This brings us right to our final section, number 4, your guide to sourcing. We've talked a lot about the what, so let's get practical and talk about the how. How does a business actually get started sourcing from Bangladesh? Because for anyone looking in from the outside, the big challenge is always the same, right? You're thinking, this all sounds great, but where do I even begin? How do you find the right reliable supplier in such a huge market? Well, if you break it down, the process really has 4 key stages. First, you got to find and then actually verify your suppliers. Then you negotiate contracts and terms. After that, you have to ensure strict quality and compliance. And finally, you have to manage the complicated world of international shipping.
And this is exactly why something called a sourcing agent becomes so valuable. Think of them as your local guide, your partner on the ground who can handle all that tricky stuff for you, from finding the right factory to making sure your products actually get on the ship. And our source material gives a perfect example of what this looks like in practice. An agency like Trade and Investment Bangladesh, TINIB for short, is built to do exactly this. They handle the buyer-seller matchmaking, they take care of compliance, they even coordinate factory visits. Basically, they tackle all those steps we just talked about.
And I think this quote from them really says it all. The goal here isn't just a one-time deal. It's about building a real, long-term partnership that helps a foreign business grow by tapping into all the incredible opportunities in Bangladesh.
So let's pull all this together. Here's a quick way to think about the whole landscape. You've got your established players like garments and jute, which offer huge volume and competitive prices. Then you have the growing sectors like bicycles and pharma, which are perfect for diversification. And finally, you have these amazing opportunity areas like agriculture and ceramics that are full of untapped value. So for anyone out there who's looking to take that next step, the source material for this explainer points to TNIB as a potential facilitator. We've got their contact information right here on the screen for anyone interested in exploring these opportunities.
And that leaves us with a final thought. It's so clear that Bangladesh is way, way more than just the world's clothing factory. It's a dynamic, shifting economy full of these hidden gems. So the real question is, which one are you going to uncover?